So, hi, I'm Jessah,
And my name is Cody.
and we don't have a name yet. We were thinking that maybe this could be called Quarantine Coffee because we're in day whatever thousands of quarantine, as you guys all understand. So,
Yep.
But we always have coffee, and we are always cozy in our home, so it
Yep.
works out just great for us. So what we want to do today is, if you guys follow me on Instagram, if this is how you found us, then we are just really wanting to share some stuff about mental health awareness. The month of May is all about mental health awareness, and we just kind of want to bring some light to that and some things that we've experienced, and just kind of what that means to us.
Yeah. So, traditionally in our society, mental health was considered a taboo topic. It was something that, there was quite a bit known, but it was just something you kept between, you and your doctor, or just something you didn't even let out at all. It wasn't understood between people. It was something that, was private, and now in our society that is changing a little bit. There's all kinds of different therapies available to people, and especially in the time that we're in right now, people, the mental health that they have may not be in the best condition, being in day 1,000 of quarantine.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure, because it has been very weird just being home all the time, and I think that Cody and I really had to navigate that being freshly married, and so I don't think we could imagine what it would be like having kids to take care of, and all we have is just a little 8-month-old puppy, so we don't really have kids to take care of yet or anything like that. So I can't imagine that how some people probably are experiencing that, but we just want to bring some light to that, and we just want to bring some light to what Cody and I have gone through in our relationship and just some of the things that we've experienced. So kind of what we want to do is this week we just want to do a little bit of an introduction video. We just want to share a little bit about who we are, kind of some of our quirks, some of our great things about us, and just how we met and where we've gone in our relationship over the last 4.5 years, and just kind of what brought us to this point. So what we're doing this week is, if you don't already know us, then this is just kind of an introduction video, so that way you guys can know us and know where our hearts are and kind of why we're doing this. So I'll just start off a little bit explaining kind of a little bit about me, and then Cody can tell you a little bit about himself, and then we'll just kind of tell you about what brought us to today. So I am...
And if you don't know, this is an introduction video.
If I haven't already said that 5,000 times, it's an introduction video. Make sure you remember that.
We are not professional YouTubers.
No. So this is probably going to be like some really boring intro, and it's going to be really bland because we don't know how to add cool music and cool like effects and stuff, but
I think you're pretty cool.
well, whatever. So we're just here with our coffee and our dog over there laying on the floor, so that's all we got.
And board games.
Board games. Board games have been our life, so yeah. But anyway, what I was going to say was just a little bit about myself. I graduated from Tennessee Tech University, I don't know, 2 years ago. It's May, so yeah, 2 years ago. So since then, I've been working with a program called Tennessee Early Intervention. I work with young children who have developmental delays, disabilities, and I help families go through the initial evaluation process to be a part of that program. So that's kind of what I studied when I went to school. I studied child development and family relations, and then that's kind of what brought me to today. And at Tennessee Tech is actually where we met. So.
Yep. So at Tennessee Tech, I actually studied exercise science. It took me a little while to get to that point. I actually started out in nursing.
I did too, actually. We both started our freshman year out in nursing and decided, nope, not for us. So you nurses out there, especially you that are in this COVID mess.
Yes, very grateful
rock.
for you guys.
You guys rock.
Awesome. Yeah, I started in nursing. I decided it wasn't for me. Went to nutrition, to business, and then finally decided on exercise science. So I was a little bit of a late bloomer. I graduated a year after Jessah, but hey, that's all right. But exercise science is my passion. Just taking care of myself is not always something that was really exciting to me. I was always one to enjoy a bag of French fries and sitting on the couch. But just the more I learned about exercise and what it does to your body, for your body, the more I just have grown to appreciate, and even kind of spark some of that appreciation in Jessah sometimes.
Absolutely. And not to shame French fries or couch sitting. We don't shame French fries or couch sitting. We invite French fries and couch sitting all the time.
We had pizza yesterday.
Yes, we had pizza yesterday. So we're not going to sit here and shame you for eating bags of whatever you want to do. But
that's what you have to do in these times.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Cody makes a really good point, because the exercise science stuff really is his passion, and I really think that that's kind of one of the biggest reasons why we're even here sharing that with you today, because exercise science, when you hear that, you think about, fitness and wellness and things like that. But I think for Cody, it goes a lot deeper than that.
I always just pictured someone wearing like lab glasses, like science, like watching someone exercise, but no,
cool.
It was not like that.
No. So, but since you had graduated, that's something that really grew for you.
Yes. Coming out of college, I actually was a health coach for almost a year. Mm-hmm. So that was something that, the more I talk to people, kind of bringing it back to mental health, a lot of people were talking about how stressed they would be. So, one of the suggestions we always gave them was, hey, just take a 30-minute walk. And not only did a lot of their stress, go down, but some people just, they reported things like, weight loss and just feeling better in general. So that feeling better comes from, just that mood boosting part that exercise brings. Mm-hmm. But yeah, kind of going back to college, we met at Tech. I believe it was technically my freshman year, since I was kind of behind with where I was with the credits. It was just a sophomore year. Yeah. But we met I was a nutrition major. She was human ecology. Mm-hmm. We happened to share the same class. And I was always one that would typically sit in the back of the classroom, running in 5 minutes before class started. But that first day of class, you want to show up looking good, feeling good. You want to be on time, I guess. So I actually got there, sat in the front row. It was just not like me at all. So Jessah actually came in after me, and she kind of passed me by, and then kind of turned around and was like, is anybody sitting here? I was like, no. Would you like to? So
yeah, and there was like nobody else in the classroom, because let me explain a little bit more in detail. We're talking we were 15. You probably had to have been at least 20 minutes early to class, because I was at least 15 minutes early to class. And when I walked in, I saw it was a classroom for maybe 30 or 35 people. And so there were probably already 5 or so people sitting in there, Cody being one of them. And so when I walked in, my instinct was to go middle of the room, don't want to sit all the way in the back, but also don't want to be the person right in the front, because it's my first day at Tennessee Tech and I don't know what's going on. So I was just going to kind of sit in the middle and kind of observe from there. But and this is one of my favorite parts of our story, because I feel like it was such a God moment that it's just really important, how it all happened. But I walk into the classroom and Cody and I lock eyes. Love at first sight, right?
Yeah.
And so it's so cheesy. But we see each other, and I'm going to my instinct is to continue walking past him. But I see him, and I'm like, huh. And then I stop, and it's almost as if I cannot move. I'm something is just holding me here, and I'm like, why can't I keep walking? And I look over at him, and first of all, I never would have been the one to ever say anything first. I am always so shy and quiet. And so when I look at him and I said that, I was like, is anybody sitting next to you? And I had like the entire classroom to choose from. I'm talking like 30 something seats I could have chosen from.
Trying to think about it. So many men could have chose from.
Exactly. But I chose the seat next to him for whatever reason. Something just literally like came over me, and I could not go any further. And so it was funny. We sat next to each other, and people kind of started pouring into the classroom, and like we didn't really say anything to each other after that. I remember you looking at me and you saying like, so I heard this professor is pretty cool. And he had like never heard anything about this professor ever. He was just trying to make conversation.
Yep, so.
And so
it's just like a Hallmark movie.
We had this little icebreaker thing where we were writing our name and like random facts about ourselves on this little note card. And so both of us admitted later that we were like peeking over at each other's note card to like see what each other's name was. But it was cute. It was sweet. And then literally like the rest is history from there.
Yep. So you ladies, sometimes you just have to make the first move.
Exactly. So, and we had another class together that afternoon. When we left that first class, we kind of talked to each other a little bit on the way out. And we discovered that we had another class together that afternoon. And so he had said, I'll save you a seat. And so I, of course, as a girl always does, I went back to my dorm, put on something way cuter than I was wearing, because I think I was in like some random leggings and a t-shirt. Like, I don't even know that I had makeup on. I don't think I was looking my best that morning, but I went back to my dorm and got myself all cutified, if that's even a word, cutified up.
You can call it a word.
Sure. And then we had that second class together. And then after that class, we spent, gosh, I don't know, 3-4 hours together.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Walking around campus.
Sitting on a bench.
Yeah.
Took her, it was the first day of text, so you gotta take her on a tour around the building, right?
Exactly, because I had no idea where anything was.
Yep, but we've been together ever since. This is almost our 5th year of knowing each other now. So, yep.
August.
Yep, August. I don't remember which day though. August 30th. I think that's.
Well, we met on like the 25th or something. We're getting to the point in our relationship where dates are
Well,
are kind of blurry.
now that we're married.
Yeah, now that we're married. So.
Speaking of which, we got engaged on New Year's Day, actually in Yosemite National Park, which was in 2018. So we're engaged for 2 years.
Yeah.
Did the whole long distance thing because, she graduated. I was still in school. She was working. I was living in Cookeville. It wasn't really that difficult. It's just, as anybody out here is doing a long distance relationship, it's always hard, when you come to see them and then you have to leave, going back, being away from them. And especially me, I was kind of living on my own. She was living on her own, so it's not fun to live on your own for so long.
Yeah.
But we got engaged, and then we got married, actually, this past November, November the 2nd. So I believe as of May the 2nd, we've been married for 6 months now. So what feels like just yesterday. So it's been a crazy 6 months. We were actually talking just how 6 months before the wedding, how long that was, and 6 months after, it just kind of flown by.
Yeah.
And I know for anyone that is, engaged and was about to be married before all this started, it's probably especially difficult, just having to postpone that. But your day's coming. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk a little bit on, what we feel like the purpose of making this little series of video is.
Yeah, that sounds good. So I think I guess there's really a lot that goes into why we wanted to do this and what we really want to share with you guys, which is why we're kind of making it a series throughout the whole month. So
it's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes, exactly. And so we don't want it to just be like one quick video, like here's what we experienced, here's what we went through, see you guys later. Like we kind of want this to be an opportunity to almost kind of develop a relationship with you guys. Like if this is something that's really important to you, we want you to know that it's really important to us too. And I think that's why we try to like have our coffee and be as cozy as possible, because we just want this experience to be very laid back. We don't want it to be scripted. We don't want it to be too heavy. We don't want it to be too light, but we just really want to speak from our hearts with this whole experience. Kind of like a little bit of a background on where we're coming from. Cody and I both have struggled a little bit with kind of panic anxiety disorder. It especially showed up a lot more earlier in our relationship with me particularly. Just simply because I've dealt with panic attacks since I was probably about 13 or 14. So this is something that I struggled with a lot, like throughout my teenage years and into college, and then especially into meeting Cody. And there's a lot more that goes into that we're going to share with you guys in later videos, but just so you kind of have a good idea of where we're coming from. That's a little bit of the background. Our relationship had lots of crazy ups and downs over the last 4.5 years. So a lot of really, I don't even know how to say it. I guess just really, just some really interesting stuff that came up for us, especially with my panic attacks. I know that Cody has his side of the story and I kind of have my side of the story. And so the way that we want to set that up for you guys is we want it to be where you kind of get a little bit of my side of the story and you get a little bit of Cody's side of the story, because I think we both see it in the same perspective, but when it comes to like how we see each other experiencing it, it's very interesting on how we've figured out how to navigate that.
Yes.
Especially because we were only 19 when we met, and I was dealing with some serious anxiety, panic attack disorder, even then, and I'm sure Cody probably has a lot to offer to say on how he experienced that part of our relationship as well.
Yes.
But really, I think just what we want you guys to get out of this is we just want this to be an opportunity where we can share our hearts with you guys, and we can just be vulnerable and honest with you and just bring some light to what we've experienced and what we know a lot of other couples have experienced as well. Especially like Cody kind of mentioned earlier in the video about how, you know, in the past, a lot of these things were very hush-hush. We didn't talk about it, and it's like when you experience it, you feel such great, like, grief and doubt, and like, well, if nobody else experiences this, then why am I going through this? And so we just want to make sure that we come at this in a very sensitive light. We want you guys to know that we are not clinical professionals. We just want to throw that out as a disclaimer. We do have a little bit of educational background on things. I have educational background on more of like the family dynamic when it comes to different types of health and wellness and things like that. And Cody has a really good perspective on
just, you know, just kind of coaching through that.
Yeah.
You know, as being a health coach, a lot of the people we talked to were stressed.
Right.
So that's something I just kind of picked up on and was able to, you know, not treat these people, but just offer advice for, you know, what helped me through all this. I'm still learning each and every day. Some things work for me. They may not work for you. Some things may not work for me, but it may work for you. So it's just, it depends on the person, genuinely. So while Jess's battle was with panic attack disorder and GAD, which is generalized anxiety disorder, a lot of my battles started recently. I actually have determined, you know, through therapy that I have obsessive compulsive disorder. So, you know, growing up, I used to think about that as, oh, that's just people that, you know, 3 a.m. want to get up and clean all of a sudden.
Wish it can be.
Yeah, it can be.
It can be, but there are so many forms to it.
Yes, there are many forms of OCD. Specifically, the one that affects me the most would be intrusive thoughts. Mm-hmm. So what intrusive thoughts are, it's kind of, to describe it to someone, it's basically, you're just sitting still all of a sudden and you have a thought come across your mind, and it can be something that is, completely like, out of this world, like it doesn't make any sense to you, or it can just be something that brings you panic. To find out a little bit more about that, you can kind of just look it up, just about what intrusive thought OCD is. There's many different types, like we were saying. There's people that, especially now, there's cleaning OCD. There's the fear of the germs, especially with the pandemic going around. So
absolutely.
But not only attached to OCD, it's kind of like a tree. You've got the OCD here, and you have a thought that kind of scares you, alarms you, so you get anxiety because of that, and because of the anxiety, if you don't take care of that, that can turn into depression, which is kind of what I went through very early in our marriage. It was a very confusing time, and so anyone that is going through this, we really just want to let you guys know that you're not alone in this. There's millions of people that have a mental health condition, whether that's something like some light anxiety, something like OCD, something like GAD, or even multiple personality disorder, bipolar. It doesn't matter what it is, especially after what we both have went through. We know what you guys are going through, and in a time like this, in isolation, a lot of those things are probably really heavy. So we just want this to be a safe space for you guys, to just kind of think about what's heavy on your hearts. We do approach this from a Christian standpoint, just because I was saved 2 years ago, back in August.
I was saved the year before we met, so it was November 2014.
Yes.
And we actually both recently got baptized a little over a year ago in our church in Nashville, which if we didn't already mention that, we're in the Nashville area. I don't think we mentioned that, but...
No, we're in Murfreesboro.
Well, Murfreesboro, whatever. We're kind of all over the place.
Close enough, If you're from this area, you just kind of, consider yourself, I'm from Nashville, and someone asks, and they're like, oh, I'm from Nashville too. Where you're like, I'm actually from this part. I'm in Murfreesboro. I'm in Smyrna. You have to kind of explain, but a lot of people don't know where specific parts of Tennessee from if you're not from Tennessee. So. Just kind of lost my train of thought.
Sorry, I know. I think I distracted you, but so we do want to approach this from a Christian standpoint, and so we do just want to let you guys know that.
You don't have to be a Christian to listen to this.
Absolutely not. We don't want you to feel like, well, I'm not a Christian, I don't necessarily believe in God, then maybe this isn't for me. That's not what we want this to be. We're not going to sit here and preach to you or like throw Bible verses at you or anything like that. We more so just want you to kind of let you know as a heads up, like, hey, we are going to be mentioning some of those things, just so that way you kind of know what to expect from us, because it is a really big part of our story, and we definitely don't want to discredit that at all. We want that to be probably the biggest part of our story, because I think that's
why we're here.
That's why we're here.
Honestly,
yeah. So. And obviously we'll get more in depth into that, but I'm glad that you brought that up, because that is a good point. We want you to know that no matter what religion you are, what background you come from, that you are absolutely welcome here. You're welcome in our home. You're welcome in our videos. You're welcome to be a part of what we're trying to do. You're welcome to reach out to us, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, Tennessee YouTube, comment, I don't know, whatever, however this works. We'll figure it out as we go.
Yes.
But yeah, we want to let you guys know that we are very open to all of that, but the Christian viewpoint is something that is very important to our hearts, and we will be sharing more about that in depth as we kind of go through these videos.
Yeah, so kind of what we want the videos to look like. Obviously this is our intro video, so what will next
Thanks for bearing with us for these 25 minutes.
Yes.
If you made it this far, you guys are great, so thanks so much. But no, I think, so probably what we're going to do is we've got a little bit of it mapped out. So I think what we're planning on is next week we're going to dive a little bit more in depth into kind of more about our background. So I'm going to share a little bit more about my panic attack, some of those things that kind of went with that in my teenage years especially, and especially what I brought into our relationship when we first met. I had a lot of, I wouldn't call it separation anxiety, but it was more like
Attachment.
Attachment, yes, thank you. That's the word I was thinking of. I had a lot of attachment anxiety. I had a lot of, what's the right word for that? It's not like, I don't know. I had a lot of problems with attachment. We'll just go with that. So we're going to dive a little bit more into that. Cody's going to dive a little bit more into some of the things that he experienced from his past. Like he said, a lot of his stuff is a little bit fresher. It's a little bit newer that we kind of recently experienced some of those things.
We both offer a different perspective, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whether you're someone that has been dealing with this their whole lives or something that started recently, we can kind of offer a different perspective from each of us. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. But
how many videos are we making?
Well, I don't know. So that's what I was thinking. We're going to we'll at least have one video every week. At least one. But I'm thinking we're going to discuss on this a little bit more. What we might do on like next week and the week after, the second and the third week, we're going to do 4 weeks of video. So this is week 1. Week 2 is going to be more about our background history on kind of like mental illness and kind of where we come from and what we feel like we learned about that growing up, what we experienced about that growing up. The third week is going to be a little bit heavier. That's going to be our kind of our deep dive into especially what we experienced early in our marriage.
Still early, only 6 months.
Yeah, we're only 6 months into marriage. We are still very freshly married. But when we got married, we had a lot of heavy things come up for both of us that were really hard to navigate, and we're still navigating that. So we will probably do a deeper dive into that on week 3. And then week 4, we'll kind of do like a wrap up. And I think week 4, we discussed that we were going to share a lot about what we do to help us now. So some of those different like habits that books that we've read, things that are really important
internet
to us
websites,
now.
Podcasts, you podcast listeners, all kinds of great podcasts out there.
Yeah. So we'll probably spend week 4 like doing a wrap up and giving you guys like a ton of resources on ways that we've experienced a lot of help through this. Maybe some of our friends or family have experienced help through this, and we just want that to be a good resource for you guys. So I would
therapy websites, there's all kinds of different therapies out there. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really what we just want this to look like. It's just going to be a little, I wouldn't call it a seminar, but just kind of our own personal experience. What's helped us? What's helped us navigate through this? Of course, we're always open to pray for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We are praying for anybody who watches this. Even if you don't reach out, we're still praying for you, and we're just very grateful that you made it this long through the video. So we hope that you guys are as excited as we are to just kind of learn more about us and mental illness and health in general. There's all kinds of different branches of wellness, which we'll cover in later videos. So we just hope you guys have a great experience with this. Happy May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Yes. If you guys want to follow along with us a little bit more personally, if you came across this on YouTube, I'll put in the notes on YouTube or in the like little description where you can follow me on Instagram. We'll also be posting this on my Instagram profile. So you guys can follow along there. We may post some things during the week about kind of what's going on with the videos and things like that. So that way you guys can get more kind of every other day updates, sort of, if we have to give you an update on something. That way you'll know. Or you can subscribe to the channel, whatever works best for you guys. But I'll put notes in that. You can follow along on Instagram, and it's at Jessah, which is JESSAH .Isabella, Isabella. And I'll put that in the comments or in the description on YouTube. So anyway, we thank you guys for watching along with us, and we're very excited for what's coming, and we hope you